We start off today's wrestling news and rumors video with a big update regarding the backstage plans for the Fiend Bray Wyatt and Alexa Bliss heading into 2021 and the road to WrestleMania 37. And with the latest information that has been revealed regarding McMahon's plans for Bray Wyatt and Alexa Bliss, it does not look as though the Fiend will be winning any major singles championships in WWE for the foreseeable future, likely not until after WrestleMania next year. A new backstage rumor indicates that next year at WrestleMania, WWE are planning for the Fiend, Bray Wyatt, and Alexa Bliss to participate in a big mixed tag team match, which would reportedly be one of the major non-title matches on the WrestleMania card. However, the real surprising rumor regarding the planned match for the Fiend and Alexa are the superstars that will be facing off against Bliss and Bray, with the rumor stating that backstage officials are considering Edge and Beth Phoenix as potential opponents. While it seemed as though WWE were heading in the direction of building up a rematch between Randy Orton vs Edge for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania 37, it appears as though that may no longer be the case, not only because Randy lost his WWE title to Drew McIntyre last night on Raw, which we will get into shortly, but the fact that Vince is looking at Edge and his wife Beth Phoenix as a worthy mixed tag team to challenge the Fiend and Alexa Bliss. Make sure you let us know your thoughts on WWE planning for the Fiend, Bray Wyatt, and Alexa Bliss to have a huge mixed tag team match at WrestleMania next year, and do you think that Edge and Beth Phoenix would be a good option as opponents? We now have an interesting new bit of information regarding Roman Reigns' status in WWE, and while Reigns has certainly been on a great run in WWE for the second half of 2020, with Roman returning to the company back at SummerSlam 2020, winning the Universal Championship at Payback, and then going on to have a dominant run as a Universal Champion thus far, apparently Reigns is not intended to have a very long reign as a Universal Champion, despite the fact that it may seem as though he is. According to one of our sources, Vince McMahon is planning for Roman Reigns' run as a Universal title holder to end prior to WrestleMania 37 next year, meaning that Reigns will likely be losing the title sometime in early 2021 to another superstar, with the rumored plan being that Reigns would be facing off against the new champion at WrestleMania next year, with Reigns reclaiming the title at the Showcase of the Immortals. Now, as to who WWE are planning to put an end to Roman Reigns' Universal Championship run on SmackDown remains to be seen, but there's no doubt that The Rock is an option, along with the returning Brock Lesnar. Let us know if you think Roman Reigns should lose the Universal title early next year to another superstar and then win back the championship at WrestleMania, and if you had to choose, who would you pick as a superstar to end Roman's run as champion? Ever since Becky Lynch had announced her surprise pregnancy to WWE fans back in May 2020, which resulted in Becky Lynch giving up the Raw Women's Championship to Asuka and then taking an immediate leave of absence from WWE, there's no doubt that Becky Lynch has been keeping a low profile during her pregnancy, and Seth Rollins certainly has not been talking a whole lot about it either. However, it cannot be denied that most fans have been very curious about any updates regarding Becky Lynch during these critical weeks of her pregnancy, and earlier today, Becky Lynch revealed a few stunning photos alongside Seth Rollins to essentially let her fans know that everything's fine and that she's doing very well. Now, as far as when Becky Lynch will be returning to WWE after she has her baby remains to be seen, but like we had mentioned previously, current backstage rumors indicate that Becky Lynch will likely return to WWE at the 2021 Royal Rumble during the Women's Royal Rumble match, and perhaps even win the match for the second time in her career. Last night's edition of Monday Night Raw was the go-home edition of the show before the upcoming Survivor Series 2020 pay-per-view event, and while the ratings and viewership for the Raw brand have certainly been pretty lackluster over much of the past several months, we can report that last night's edition of Monday Night Raw saw a meaningful increase in the ratings department, something that Vince McMahon is reportedly proud of, and we have been told that Vince attributes the increased viewership for Raw last night on the WWE building up some hype for the scheduled WWE Championship match between Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre, and apparently fans can expect plenty more shock title changes and unexpected moments to occur on both Raw and SmackDown in the near future in an effort to boost the ratings. Last week on Raw, it appeared as though Nia Jax had accidentally injured Mandy Rose, and while it couldn't be confirmed that Mandy was injured last week and instead just took an awkward fall from the ring, it has now been revealed that Mandy Rose is in fact injured following last week's encounter with Nia Jax, with Mandy reportedly suffering from a shoulder injury, hence why Mandy was not doing very much last night on Raw during the tag team match. It's unknown how long it will take for Mandy Rose to recover from the unfortunate injury, but we have been told that Nia Jax has garnered a lot of backstage heat from from Vince McMahon after it was discovered that the injury was very real for Mandy Rose, and one source mentioned that fans should not be surprised if Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler lose the Women's Tag Team Championships very soon as a result of Nia's backstage heat. We now have the main story featured in this video, and it is regarding the real reasons for Randy Orton shockingly losing the WWE Championship last night on Monday Night Raw to Drew McIntyre, just 1 week before the Survivor Series 2020 pay-per-view event. There's no doubt that many wrestling fans were beginning to believe that Drew would manage to win the WWE title back from Randy Orton last night on Raw, with how much WWE had been promoting this title match. And at the end of the night, Drew McIntyre managed to capture the WWE Championship for the second time in his career. This booking decision has brought up memories of AJ Styles winning the WWE title from Jinder Mahal a short time before Survivor Series 2017, and apparently the reasons for Drew McIntyre winning the title from Randy Orton last night on Raw are quite similar in some aspects to Styles winning the WWE title from Jinder Mahal. According to one of our sources, Vince feels that Drew McIntyre vs Roman Reigns is a more appealing match for Survivor Series 2020 compared to Randy Orton vs Reigns, and while this is definitely part of the reason for the shock title change before Sunday's pay-per-view, a new backstage rumor has revealed that the main reason for Randy Orton losing the WWE title to Drew McIntyre is because Randy Orton has recently requested some time off from WWE beginning in December 2020, and as a result, Vince had to find a logical way for Orton to lose the WWE Championship, and the whole Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns match was a great way to get the title off of Orton before the Viper leaves WWE temporarily for a break. It's unknown how long Randy Orton will be gone from WWE, but we have been told that Randy could take a leave from WWE until the 2021 Royal Rumble, and if you hadn't known, one of the things Randy Orton had negotiated in his recent new WWE contract is that he's allowed to take extended breaks from the WWE when he wants, and it appears as though Randy Orton wants to take the holiday season off this year to spend time with family and unwind from what has been a great 2020 for Randy Orton. Once Survivor Series 2020 is over, many fans are now wondering exactly what the plans are for Drew McIntyre as the reigning WWE Champion over on Monday Night Raw, with Randy Orton taking a break from WWE. And according to a new backstage rumor, once Survivor Series 2020 is over and done with, Drew McIntyre's next challenger for the WWE Championship will reportedly be the Celtic Warrior Sheamus for the rest of 2020 and the TLC pay-per-view. And there's no doubt that the storyline writes itself, considering WWE had Sheamus give Drew McIntyre some gifts before McIntyre's WWE title match against Randy Orton last night on Raw, and Drew will likely be willing to give his friend an opportunity at the championship as a result of Sheamus's kind gesture, although don't be surprised if Sheamus turns on Drew McIntyre very soon.